Hello Scorpio, my name's Keith Haswell. I'm a professional astrologer with 40 years experience in the business and over 30,000 clients worldwide. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to this video on your cycles for May and June 2014. Now I've already done your major cycles, which are the slower moving planets, Jupiter, Saturn and Uranus and Mars, through your houses of your horoscope in the whole of 2014, and that's available through YouTube. With this one I'm going to look at the faster moving planets, the Sun, Mercury, Venus and Mars. And so you just sit back and relax now, Scorpio, and enjoy the journey with me. What I'm going to do is to look at the movement of these planets through the houses of your horoscope in May and June 2014 to give you an idea of some of the conditions and circumstances that you'll experience during this particular period of your life, with the goal of making you master and administrator of all of the events and conditions of your life to be more successful. And it's important to understand, Scorpio, that every single event in your life is the result of a thought form. Nothing happens by chance. There's no such thing as random chance, as science says. Science likes us to believe that it's all just luck, or good fortune or bad luck, that it's all according to random chance in life. And so you just mull your way through life and cop whatever comes your way. And if you have bad luck, that's just one of the ways that things work. But that's not the way that things work, Scorpio. The way that things work is that we are all creating our reality. God and Goddess have given us the power to create all of the events of our life, and we do so according to the law of cause and effect and the law of attraction. We attract towards ourselves, Scorpio, that which is in the likeness of our predominant patterns of thought and feeling, and our attitudes and our beliefs. So this is what I want to deal with you here, is to first of all, before we go on to your cycles for May and June 2014, Scorpio, is to help you to understand a little about the way that it all works. And these thought forms are there resident in your aura, and they get triggered off by the movement of the planets through the houses of your horoscope. So as the planets move through the houses of your horoscope, they activate these thought forms. And this is what I'm going to deal with here for you, the movements of the planets through your horoscope, of the Sun, Mercury, Venus and Mars, as they move through the houses of your horoscope, and they trigger off these thought forms and manifest them as conditions and events in your life in the various houses of the horoscope. So just sit back and relax now, Scorpio, now that I've blown your mind. And I'll go through these cycles for you. Now, you have had a major influence going on for the last 12 months, and it's going to continue to go on for another 8 months or so. And that is, you've got Saturn in the first house of your horoscope, and I explain a lot more about this in the whole of the year horoscope for you, the Scorpio horoscope for 2014. But you have had a lot of problems and difficulties in getting your projects, your self-initiated projects off the board and into reality. You've had tendencies to depression through the whole of 2014 and into 2013 as well. So you've had a pretty difficult time in being able to control the way that your thought patterns are going and to get things started. So you've had to be very practical and down to earth during this time. You've also had Jupiter in the 9th house of your horoscope, and that's going to remain in the 9th house of your horoscope for the whole of 2014. And that is giving you a tremendous urge, Scorpio, to expand your understanding about the philosophies of life and to expand and become more of who you really are. So you've got this tremendous urge inside of yourself during the whole of 2014, Scorpio, to change and to bring about these changes within yourself and to expand your understanding and expand your horizons, what you might say. Now what I'm going to do for you now, Scorpio, is I'm going to lay these movements of the Sun, Mercury, Venus and Mars out on a timeline for you for the months of May and June 2014. So I'll give you a particular date in the location of these bodies at the beginning of the month, on the 1st of May, and then they remain in that position unless I give you another date that changes the location of that particular body later on in the month. Now you start off the month of May with the Sun in the 7th house of your horoscope and also Mercury in the 7th house of your horoscope. And with the Sun and Mercury in the 7th house of your horoscope, there's a focus upon relationships. You enjoy dealing with the public and communicating more so with the public and getting out and socializing with the public during this particular time. And Venus starts off the month, Scorpio, in the 5th house of your horoscope. So it's a good time for you for romance and love and social activities. It's a good time for you for enjoying time with children socially. It's a good time for you to just get out and about to restaurants and places of amusement when Venus is in the 5th house of your horoscope. So they're the sort of influences that you're starting off the month of May with. Now Mars is in the 12th house of your horoscope to start off with, and when Mars is in the 12th house, Scorpio, it makes you your own worst enemy. You can get involved in secret sexual expression and sexual activities, and Mars is retrograde to start off the month, which means that it's going in an apparent backward motion. So it gives you a tendency to dwell in the past and to have worries about things from the past that you're continually dragging up into your consciousness, worries and fears and anxieties and doubts that you're not openly discussing with other people about the past. Now all of those influences remain there, Scorpio, until I tell you about another date whereby that particular body changes in sign or changes in house of your horoscope. Now the first change comes, Scorpio, on the 4th of May when Venus moves into the 6th house of your horoscope. It'll remain there then for quite a few days or 2 or 3 weeks. Now when Venus is in the 6th house of your horoscope, there'll be a lot more social activities during that time from then on to do with people that you work with. It's a good time for job interviews. It's a favourable time socially involving domestic pets. It's a good time for having fun there with your workmates and things like that. Now then on the 8th of May, Scorpio, Mercury moves into the 8th house of your horoscope, and that begins a cycle of deeper introspection about the mysteries of life and introspection and desire within yourself on mental levels to make changes inside of yourself and to become more of who you really are. On the 21st of May, Scorpio, Mars starts going direct. It's still in the 12th house of your horoscope, but it starts going direct, and so your sexual energies are not going to be throwing back into the past, and your general energies are not going to be throwing back into the past. Now they'll be working more towards the future, but still in the 12th house, and so you still can be your own worst enemy. You can have inner tensions within yourself that you don't openly discuss with other people, and you can be your own worst enemy when Mars is in the 12th house of your horoscope. But at least now you're starting to work towards the future more so than hanging on to the past. 22nd of May, Scorpio, the Sun moves into the 8th house of your horoscope and remains there for 30 days. Now when the Sun is in the 8th house of your horoscope, you'll experience a lot of deep introspection and reflection. Now you'll be very much at home here with the Sun in the 8th house of your horoscope because your sign is the 8th sign. But it will commence a 30-day period of deep introspection and reflection upon changes that you're trying to bring about within yourself during this period from there on. Now on the 30th of May, Scorpio, Mercury moves into the 9th house of your horoscope and Venus moves into the 7th house of your horoscope. So you've got a double movement of planets there on the 30th of May. Now when Mercury goes into the 9th house of your horoscope, you'll have a strong attraction towards the philosophies of life. Adult education will occupy your attention. There'll be thoughts about travel, and there'll be communications with relatives who live distantly from you. With Venus going into the 7th house, you'll find that things will go much better in terms of social activities revolving around the general public, getting out to places like shopping centres and restaurants and places of amusement and that sort of thing. And your relationship with any intimates in your life or your spouse in your life will go much more smoothly from there on. On the 8th of June, Scorpio, Mercury is in the 9th house of your horoscope, but it starts going retrograde. That means that it's in an apparent backward motion. And when that happens, Scorpio, it means that you have difficulties expressing yourself and putting your point across. Your mind will naturally be going backwards into the past. There'll be all sorts of difficulties with transport. You'll be wanting to get from here to there, and there'll be congestion with the traffic, or the train is late, letters arrive late, phone calls come in late. All sorts of things like that happen in terms of your normal communication activities. On the 18th of June, Scorpio, Mercury goes back into the 8th house of your horoscope, so it's still in a backward motion, still in a retrograde motion, and it moves back into the 8th house of your horoscope, forcing you to become more introspective and reflective, and introspecting and reflecting upon changes that you're trying to bring about within yourself from there on. On the 23rd of June, Scorpio, the Sun moves into the 9th house of your horoscope, commencing a 30-day period of adult education, desire for travel, a lot more social involvements with in-laws and relatives who live distantly from you. And there's a tendency also to focus upon and put the energies of your personality upon the philosophies of life and spirituality and religion and things like that. And the last one we come to, Scorpio, is on the 24th of June, when Venus moves into the 8th house of your horoscope. Now, when Venus is in the 8th house of your horoscope, there can be a boost for joint finances together with any partner or spouse. And it's also going to heighten your sex drive, especially if you're female. So it'll heighten your sexuality. It will be a time of introspection and reflection about financial matters and matters relating to relationships. And that's as far as I go for you, Scorpio. Now I'll be releasing these videos on a 2-monthly basis every 2 months. So in the middle of June I'll release a video for July and August for all of the different signs. And so it's important for you to subscribe to my videos, Scorpio, and that way you'll get every new video that I bring out. I'm also producing other videos too that are more potent and powerful along a particular topic that will be a personal growth video for you to help you to become more of who you really are. So I suggest that you subscribe to my videos, and that way you'll get every one that comes out. And also to think and reflect upon what I've said here about the whole of the fact that we are all in a spiritual classroom. We are all in the emotional and the mental world, polarized in our consciousness, which is conferred upon us by our soul. And it's time for everybody to realize that we are a spiritual being. And it's time to get stuck into learning more about the power and the talent that you have inside of yourself. You are a giant spiritually, waiting to unfold your powers, strengths and talents. You have a lot of goodness, truth and beauty there inside of yourself, Scorpio, that's waiting to get out. So get stuck into my other videos as well. Get stuck into my intensives. Look, I'm happy to do your horoscope for you free of charge. All you do is you go to my website, and you can find the website address in the description of each of my videos. I always put the address there for you to navigate your way to my website. And go to your horoscope page and submit your birth details, even if you've seen the video that's applicable to your year of 2014. It doesn't matter. Put your birth details in, and that starts an opportunity for me to be able to reach out to you and to send you the 12 CDs of my intensive number 1 out of my book, What Really Matters, to help you to become more of the giant that you truly are. There's just so much there to learn, Scorpio. And so I thank you for your attentiveness here, and I look forward to working further with you should you decide to get your horoscope done by me. And I do all of that for you free of charge to help you to become more of who you really are. So I thank you for your attentiveness and look forward to working further with you should you decide to go further, Scorpio.